You're listening to Trek FM.
Welcome to a new episode of From There to Here, Trek FM's 50th anniversary rewatch of Star Trek, in which we look at all 729 episodes from beginning to end. I'm your host, Richard Marquez, and here with me is...
3 of 9, Brandon-Mutala.
Brandon-Mutala. How you doing, Brandon?
I'm doing okay. I'm a little bit tired, and I'm a little bit thirsty, and yeah. But we're
ready to get assimilated?
Ready to get assimilated.
Re-assimilated?
Re-assimilated.
There we go. All right. So our first episode is Survival Instinct. Seven encounters 3 ex-Borg with whom she has been temporarily separated from the collective 8 years previously. What do you think, Brandon?
The Borg. Again.
Our common foe?
Yeah. Here we go again.
All right, I think this is going to be a short episode.
I think that's a really neat-looking space station, and I like how the episode starts with this hustle and bustle of all these aliens coming on, giving these gifts, that crazy tennis racket-looking thing, when Tom and Harry got in that fight, and she's like, did it have anything to do with something like that? And they're both like, yeah. I don't know. I think there's some really fun parts in here, right? So I think it's really neat.
Especially when she says, did you win?
Did you win? Yeah. So, I think it's interesting. I mean, I liked how it started. And watching on my rewatch right now, season 6 is the season of Star Trek that I've watched the least. Season 6 of Voyager, because I missed it during its initial run, and I never actually watched it until I bought the DVDs. So I actually think that this is only the second time that I've seen season 6 of Voyager. So it feels different. Now I don't know if it feels different because I haven't seen it before, or if it does actually feel different. Like this hustle and bustle space station is like nothing we've had before on Voyager, and I like it.
Right, and exactly, it's got that. I don't want to say DS9 feel to it, but especially but it does when it comes to commerce, and we see more of these more species, and basically making money that apparently the Federation doesn't have. But yeah, definitely, I'm in the same boat with you because I actually own 1 through 7. And some of these episodes were like, oh my gosh, how did I miss this one? Or how I don't remember seeing this episode at all. And this one is one of those ones that I've seen here and there. Now, granted, I've watched every single one of them, but when I started doing my rewatch again, probably a couple of years ago, seeing this episode for the first time was like, wow, I can't believe I actually missed this episode back when it aired. So no, I'm in the same boat. Totally.
I mean, these former Borg, they're still linked mentally, and they need something from 7 in order to get unlinked. And I don't know, it's not that fascinating of a story. I mean, Vaughn Armstrong's a good actor. He's been in a lot of Star Trek, so it's fun to see him.
Admiral Forrest?
Yeah, Admiral Forrest. And then the woman that we see, I don't know if anybody recognized her, but she was actually the Vulcan who was trying to buy weapons from Quark in the Maquis, Part 1 and 2, back in Season 2 of Voyager, or of Deep Space Nine. So we've seen her once before as well. But on the whole, it's not a great episode. It's not a terrible episode. It's just kind of there, as far as I'm concerned.
No, I agree. I mean, it wasn't too much of an intriguing episode, or at least interesting episode to me. Yeah.
Thumbs down. Well, let's move on to Barge of the Dead.
Barge of the Dead. All right. So another Voyager episode. B'Elanna Torres dies in a shuttle accident and finds herself heading to Graythor, the afterlife of the dishonored Klingons. This is one of my favorite ones. It's because it deals with the Klingons, and B, it deals with B'Elanna.
Mm-hmm. People who have heard Beyond From There to Here know that in Enterprise especially, I think the Klingons get really stale and really boring, and we didn't get a lot of Klingon culture in Voyager, which I think is kind of good, right? Because I really do think that they were starting to get stale with the Klingons. But I really like this episode because we've heard of these things. Like, these are all things that we've heard of. They've talked about before. The Barge of the Dead and Grethor and things like that. And to see it in this manner is actually quite fascinating, And one of the scenes that I really like is when those people are calling out, right when B'Elanna first gets on the ship and those people are calling out, and that guy like jumps off the boat into the river of blood or whatever it is, right? Like, it's a really interesting emotional image to see, and you can hear Janeway and Paris and Chakotay calling for B'Elanna in the shadows. And I think it's really interesting because it makes you think like, oh, okay, what's going on? Is she dead? Is she not dead? What's going on here? Like, obviously we know she's not going to die, right? So though those voices aren't real, but we know that B'Elanna's not dead, so maybe they are real.
Right. And this is like the first time really that we we hear about going to Sto-vo-kor and whatnot, but I mean, this is really the first time we really hear about Klingon hell.
No, I'm pretty sure we've heard about it before. They don't talk about it as much as they talk about Sto-vo-kor.
And definitely, right, and then definitely we see the imagery of what it actually looks like. Well, we didn't see it at what it actually looks like, but we definitely saw what their purgatory looks like. But like, I mean, I'm such a stickler when it comes to like traditions and in mythology, especially when it comes to like death of cultures, heaven and hell and sort of thing. And that's what makes this episode so interesting, because I just love the Klingons, and I love how their mythology is, their religion, if you want to call it, death rites. Mm-hmm. It's so interesting on obviously how a warrior would see it through the lens of Star Trek, that is. So.
Right. And some of the things that B'Elanna says, right? When she's arguing with Janeway, and she says to her, it doesn't matter if it was real to you, it was real to me. And that's a lot about what faith is. And, there's times when I'll talk about my faith, and people will say to me, they don't believe God's real. They think it's stupid that people believe in God in this day and age, because you shouldn't believe in God because we're smart, because we've gone to school. And it's like, well, I've had experiences that I can't explain, which make me believe in a God. And it doesn't matter if you believe in a God or not. I do. Okay? And why are you trying to change my opinion? Like, what's the point of trying to change somebody's opinion on faith? Mm-hmm. And that's kind of what Janeway's trying to do here, right? And so I like that scene, and I like the wording of that. It doesn't matter if it was real to you, it was real to me.
Well, and definitely Janeway doesn't see it in the eyes of and obviously we see her later on, or don't we see her later on down the road basically talking to her father for that man, or that soul-eating monster later on down the road? Or is that?
I'm not as familiar with season 6 and 7 of Voyager, so if we do, I don't quite remember at this point. So,
oh, yes. Really? Well, you're gonna. Okay, that's very interesting, because you're gonna like that episode. Mm-hmm. But so it's just it's. I mean, obviously we've seen her since the beginning of the season, or of the series, that she looks through life through the lens of science, and she's always has been, because that's how she was brought up and raised, and she's always been a scientist. And like you said, she's one of those people that tried to basically disprove what B'Elanna was basically seeing through her own vision or vision quest or whatever spiritual journey. And it's just I mean, I agree with you. I mean, it's based on your own personal experience. I mean, if you don't have your own personal experience and to go off of, then I could see how someone would denounce your religion, my religion, or anything like that. Because I'm in the same boat as you, dude. Mm-hmm. There are some things I can't explain that I've experienced. That's like, wow, mm-hmm. I don't know how I survived that.
And that's usually after eating tacos.
Del Tacos. That'll clean your system out real quick.
Morale, her mother. This plot line is picked up in the post-finale novels, so I won't talk about it too much here, but Kristen Byer's great post-finale novels. Definitely pick them up if you haven't read them. But we haven't seen the last of them all, so check it out. Yeah. Anywho, other than that, I think it is a really good episode, and I love B'Elanna's hair.
Oh, the frizzy curly hair, short hair.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's my favorite hairstyle of hers.
Yeah, I agree. 2 thumbs up. So, where can everyone find you on the internet, Brandon?
When I'm not on my way to Grethor, you can find me on Twitter at Brandon-Mutala. You can find me in the Babel Conference every once in a while talking Trek. You can find me on Melodic Treks, which is a podcast all about the music of Star Trek, and I've been on a few recent episodes of Warp 5, which is our Star Trek Enterprise podcast. Richard,
outstanding.
Where have you been?
Well, I'm trying to polish off on some of the paint for Earl Grey, which is our dedicated TNG podcast airing soon. Hopefully way before this episode airs. But they can find me on Facebook. I pop in the Babel Conference here and there, and also Twitter. Twitter, my handle is xransom.
Mm-hmm. And as we determined yesterday, it has nothing to do with Captain Ransom.
No, not at all. Mm-mm.
So join us again tomorrow as we talk Tinker Tenor, Dr. Spy, and John Carpenter's Christine.